Hi, welcome to the Open Mind Show. I'm Anita Burns. My guest today is Kiyomi, and Kiyomi has a talent that's quite unusual with art. She's a painter, but not in any of the traditional sense. I was entranced by her work and how alive it seems when you look at it. She has an interesting story to tell. Welcome, Kiyomi.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I have one of your pieces here that I want to show the camera. It probably won't show up as beautifully as it does in person, but I wanted to show anyway how gorgeous it is. It's on, what is that, half-inch plexiglass?
Yes, acrylic.
Acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's paint on the top of the acrylic that gives it a three-dimensional feel to it from the painting behind. And I noticed that depending on where I was, it seemed to flow almost like water.
Yes, thank you.
Was that your intention?
Yes. I like what I like about this kind of medium is you can see it, a lot of things, like the longer you look at it, the more things you'll see, depending on which angle.
Have you had people tell you that they use them as a meditation tool? Because it certainly could be.
No, but I'd be thrilled if someone said that.
Well, I can certainly understand how if I just looked at that as a meditation tool, that I would go into a very deep state, because it seems to pull me in. And some of the others I looked at of your work also that we'll show on the screen did the same thing. And I thought, wow, this would be a wonderful meditation tool, a tool for spirituality.
Well, I did start meditating about 2003, so I guess that makes sense. I was experimenting with this around that time, actually before that, but it kind of progressed slowly into what you see now. How
did you come to this? I mean, did you always do this kind of work, or?
I actually started out with photorealism, with drawing and painting, and then I started...
With ink or pencil?
Pencil, charcoal, and then I progressed into oil paint. And then after college, art school, I started experimenting and just going with feeling as opposed to realism and composition. And it started to become easier and easier because I was always a little bit, I guess, hard on myself. Like I wanted to get more detail than was actually there. And now I'm at the point where I can just start with a stroke and then it'll just build up from there.
So it just comes to you intuitively.
Right. So I started to get more and more representational, a little bit abstract. And just one day I just started experimenting with this stuff. I never really planned systematically what was going to happen as an outcome.
So again, it just came to you intuitively. Yeah.
And I have done printmaking, so this incorporates some printmaking, some monotypes. And I've always liked how nature is always flowing, so that motivates me and inspires me.
And you say you travel a lot and you get your inspiration just about everywhere.
Yes, from all the different cultures. I always try to look at the architecture, and I try to go into nature wherever I am. And
do you have a favorite story or something about where you've been that really inspired you?
Maybe Italy. It seems like art is everywhere there, and it's beautiful too. If you go to the Cinque Terre area, it's just gorgeous.
And where's that?
In the northern half of Italy, on the ocean, the sea side.
Oh, all right.
It's beautiful. The colors are just so bright there.
Yeah. So you probably notice a lot of things that other people don't notice.
I think so. I think being an artist, you do notice that, you know, little things.
And you get certain feel of it. Let's say you're in a place like that and you get the certain feeling and you're noticing things. Do you then make mental note or sketch it down? Or
usually I'll photograph. Always try to have a camera.
Oh, that's always a good idea.
And I'll use it as reference sometimes, maybe just colors or shapes.
So I'm just really, really intrigued by this. You said that you might be taking this to another step too.
Yes, all my work, they have one common denominator, and it's layers. So I wanted to add another layer to this. So I'm going to play with video and lights, maybe not sure about this yet, but maybe certain gases that would make
So have movement.
pretty, yeah, exactly.
Movement and
I'm going to
flow.
incorporate definitely movement and light.
Yeah. Well, as you probably know, a lot of our watchers are spiritual people and on a metaphysical path. So I'd like to really know a little bit more about the spirituality aspect of, and how it plays in with your art.
Well, I have a deep love for indigenous culture and how they don't separate spirituality with their art making.
Isn't that nice?
So I like that. Yeah, like the Aborigines, Native Americans.
Well, this does have a bit of an Aboriginal flow to it, with the dots, with the circles.
And even like sand painting, because that's like a metaphysical kind of meditative
Right.
kind
And
of
so
artwork. So I like that.
you've sort of taken that in the abstract. And so, what about your own spirituality?
Well, I have a little bit of Buddhism background.
What-
I'm more
yeah.
to non-dual Advaita Vedanta kind of path right now.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
you
always
s-
seeking, so
Yeah,
I think
well, yeah.
that's part of being an artist too, is you're always looking for truth out there. And this is hopefully helping me along the path,
Well,
is, you know,
I-
connecting with the universe. And
I have a belief
like that.
about art that it comes from that highest part of ourselves, that highest consciousness, our immortal self, and it just sort of filters through. I think that's why maybe we're never really satisfied with our art, because it's an experience that you're trying to put down,
Right.
and it's not possible to translate that 100%. I think anyway.
And I think that's also a reason for why art seems to change. You know, you can't stick to one type of style forever. I think that's why a lot of artists go through a lot of transitions. And
Yeah.
I go through many, but I'm going to stick with this for a while.
And then
See where it takes me.
And this is a small piece. Do you also do large pieces?
I do, but this material tends to be heavy. So the larger, like if it was this table size, it would be very heavy.
Okay.
I did a piece that was about 5 foot long.
Whoa.
And it was difficult to
Needed a
work
crane.
with. No, but I would like to go larger. Or I'm thinking about, instead of maybe one large piece, is making a mosaic. So several pieces will make one large piece.
Oh.
So I'm thinking about doing that too.
So when people look at your art, what do you want them to experience?
That's a good question. Well, these are called mood plaques, and I think colors and moods go hand in hand. So I'm hoping it will elevate someone's mood when they look at it. Because I know there's art out there for everyone, and some art is, when you look at it, it could be disturbing or makes you sad. I kind of don't. I want to stay away from that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
That either.
So
if I want to feel bad, I go to a family reunion.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I like art that, for me, art is something that draws me in and connects to a part of me that maybe I'm not conscious of. And this
I like that.
does that for me. It opens up and expands me in some way. And I think that people who look at your art, if they are at all sensitive, will have that experience. And I think it's just an incredible, unique way of expressing. And so how do you get your art out to the public? And what kind of response do you have?
That's what I'm kind of challenged by right now, because I know galleries are in the business to make money. So it's kind of hard to get out there unless you really pound the pavement. And I've been pretty lucky. Most of the shows I've been in is because I knew somebody, you know, that was involved.
Isn't that the way with any business, though?
Yeah, I think.
It's not what you knew, it's who you know.
Especially the creative arts, yeah.
Right.
But this year I'm going to work a little bit harder getting into juried shows, and I'm going to work harder to refine these pieces. And like I said, add the video and light elements. So I want to get them really tight, you know, professional. Like I'd love to show in Mocha, you know, or Momo, somewhere like that. That's one of the goals.
I definitely see you doing that.
Thank you.
When you mentioned the movement, I thought immediately, intuitively, that that's your ticket.
Okay.
Because that's where it's going to really, really stand out even more.
Plus, I think with today's technology, it's there, so why not use it? You know, and I think people are used to that too.
Yeah.
It's almost as if people get bored right away if they don't see something moving, or you know what I mean? They're not as challenged as much.
Well, also,
like
yeah. Well, it's like anything. Some art is forever. I mean, you can look at a Rembrandt forever.
Timeless.
It's timeless. And then some art, like, what was it, the Keens with the big eyes, you know? After a while, it was a novelty. After a while, it didn't offer any more for people. It's like trendy.
Right.
But some art like yours, which is very abstract, keeps adding something new each time. It's different every time you look at it. So it has I believe, the ability to be that timeless piece.
Great.
That people can keep looking at and looking at and looking at forever, because it continues to evolve.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you're right.
Well, tell me a little bit about how you feel about it, though. I mean, I don't want to do all the talking.
You know, I feel like while I'm creating these, it is a meditation. You know, I get focused and I kind of play with it. And what's interesting about these is I don't have full control of the paint because it's on a slick surface. It's not going to absorb. So sometimes I have to kind of push and pull and turn it, and sometimes it doesn't always turn out exactly how I want it, but I don't see that as a problem. I see it as, okay, well, what can I do to this to be happy with it? Yeah. So then it causes me to experiment even more.
How do you know when a piece is finished?
When I like it. If it's something that I would buy myself.
So there's something, you just get a feeling that says, that's it?
Like that one piece I'd mentioned to you, how I wasn't really fully happy with it. So I just tore off parts of the back and almost started over, but I still kept part of the original element. And I liked it 10 times better.
Yeah,
you know,
the accidents happen. And perhaps those accidents come from, you know, a greater part of yourself.
I like happy accidents, yeah. That's happened to me a couple times, actually, like the epiphany, you know.
So when did you know you were an artist?
I've always drawn since I was a little child. So it was, but I never really took it seriously until I had a really good teacher in college. And his name was Joaquin Smith, and he was just so amazing. He was Buddhist, and he played classical music. And at that time, I was early 20s, I was thinking, what is this classical music? You know, why is he playing this in the class? But it kind of opened my eyes to a different part of my inner being, and he was just fantastic. And that's when I knew I wanted to do art as a career.
So he opened it up to make art a full holistic experience?
Right, because I just thought, well, I'll take a drawing class just for fun. And I was actually an advertising major, and after his class, I switched my major.
Yeah, it's amazing how one person can change the course of our whole life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was great.
So do you believe that you were destined to be an artist?
I think so. I think it's something that comes natural to me. Yeah. And now I don't have to work too hard at it.
That's good.
Yeah, I used to struggle a little when I was more into the realism.
Well, you know, realism is fine for portraits, and it has its place, but I can definitely see your heart and soul in these pieces. And so you mentioned something about on a slick surface. Somehow I thought you had painted on something else and then put the...
I did. Well, behind it is printmaking, the very back. But before I add the printmaking layer, I paint directly on the acrylic behind there. Oh, so it's on both sides.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
So you'll see 1, 2, 3 layers of stuff going on there.
And what kind of paints do you use?
Water-based.
Water-based?
For the back, this is, I guess that's oil-based. That's kind of
the little circles are oil-based. Well, your colors are deep and brilliant, and that's what you're attracted to?
Yes, yeah. I am. I'm actually attracted to bright colors as well as complex compositions. If it looks like it took someone years to make, I really like that kind of work.
I see.
Even though I don't work that way.
Well, yeah.
You know, so something I appreciate.
What artists inspire you?
Some of the surrealists, like Salvador Dali, Frida Kahlo.
Frida Kahlo, yeah.
I just saw her movie, so I was just thinking about her. I like certain architecture that's non-traditional, like Gaudi. the Spanish architect. Hieronymus Bosch. Even though I don't really paint like that, there's something about their compositions that are very intriguing. Contemporary artists, I like Mark Ryden. Very illustrative, but interesting. You know, they always tell a story.
Yeah. So even though they work differently, they have something that inspires you. What about them inspired you, do you think?
I guess they challenge me. Like when I look at their pieces, I kind of feel like there's a story going on there, and I need to figure it out. So I like that.
Well, that's very much like your work. There's a story going on there.
Okay, thank you.
Don't you think? I mean, when you look at that with all the lines and the circles and the clouds and the swashes, it's like you could just make all sorts of pictures in there. I see, you know, people dancing. I see birds. I see all sorts of things.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I wish everyone thought like that.
Well, have you ever asked them?
No, I usually stand back. Like if I'm at my own art show, I usually stand back and watch people, how they react. And then if they figure out who I am, then I'll talk to them. And they usually ask me questions like, what were you thinking when you made this? And what does this mean? A lot of people want to know the meaning.
What does it mean? And do you tell them?
Sometimes. I mean, I would rather have the viewer make their own interpretation, like what you do.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think you're a good viewer.
Well, I would be interested, you know, if it were me, I would say, well, what do you see in there? How does this touch you? How does this affect you? And they might say, it's a piece of crap, but at least I'd know.
Right, right. I've heard that too. I've heard both sides.
Well, not all art is for everybody.
Yeah, no, that's what's the great thing about art.
Yeah. So where do you think you want to take this?
Definitely include the multimedia aspect of it. Make larger pieces. Like I said, maybe more like a mosaic as opposed to one huge, large piece. I mean, it'd be great to have
like
pieces as big as these walls, of course.
Oh, yes.
Maybe eventually. Gonna have
So
to get
make
some cranes or something out there.
We'll make it small pieces fitting together, maybe different levels, different dimensions, some coming this way, some going that way.
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
Yeah. That would be just tremendous. That would be quite an undertaking. Yeah. So do you have a studio, or do you work out of your home?
I work out of my home right now.
Yeah. That's always nice.
Kind of. I mean, it's convenient, but it's sometimes it's easy to get lazy, you know. So this year I'm going to be a little bit more productive. I'm going to give myself deadlines, which I respond to better than, oh, I have an idea, let's just do it, and then it never gets done, you know. You know. So I'm going to be a little more strict with myself.
So you're going to be working on the multimedia aspect of it, and
I'll
then
be experimenting with that.
Yeah. Somehow when you say that, I just have this picture of your work in a museum.
That's a goal, definitely.
Well, I think you're going to make it.
Thank you.
You're going to make it. So if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they find out more about you?
I have a website. It's kiyomisartstudio.com.
And they can find your schedule there, and where to see your art, and how to get in touch with you.
If there's going to be a show, I'll put a little announcement on there.
So if there's not a show, let's say somebody just wants to see more of what you do, or is very interested, is there an
They
email?
can reach me through there.
They can reach you
yeah,
through there?
there's a message board, something like that, where you can write me a little note.
Okay.
And then I'll get it through email.
Okay, great. And we'll be showing, of course, more of your pieces in this interview.
Okay.
And so, if you had one thing to say about your work, what would you say?
Well, I hope people will look at it and go away with some kind of reaction. I think nothing's worse to an artist if someone just doesn't have a reaction to your work.
Just kind of looks at it and goes,
right.
Well, that's a reaction, but maybe not the one
but
you're
you know what I
looking
mean?
with.
I mean, I would love people to like them.
Well,
and feel good when they look at them.
So you hope that there will be something there for them.
Yes.
And I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility. And reality, I'm sure people have.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This has been wonderful, and I certainly enjoy looking at your work and up close, because as you said, the metallic doesn't show up very well in photography and on the web, which is like 72 DPI, so it can't be really clear.
You don't get the shimmery, metallic.
The shimmering or the
ir-
depth or
incandescence.
the aliveness of it. And I wish everybody could just come and look at it because it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you look at all of our open mind shows. We have a variety of guests that have a wide array of opinions and talents, and again, thank you for joining us with Kiyomi and her beautiful, beautiful art. Thank you. See you again.